Okay, thank you. Going to call the regular meeting of the Southbury Zoning Commission to order. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, February 11th. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, of course, that's the meeting of February 11th, 2026. So I don't think we need to seat any alternates. I think we've got enough regular members. We have a opening of the public hearing. The application for general plans, petition to amend B3C zone to accommodate PDD 24, also known as 333 Main Street South. The 83A referral received from Planning Commission. We're opening the public hearing for discussion. And I don't know, has anybody had a chance to look things over? It is a lot, it's a lot of gear, it's a lot of gear. So, I don't know if there's anyone in the audience that,
I mean, I didn't really have, I looked over quite a bit of it, and I didn't really have too much of a issue with any of it for the most part, so I don't know if there's anything else.
No, I mean, look, between like planning's review and Jordan, I know you did the assessment too. Everything seemed okay from my perspective on it.
So at this time, why don't we hear from the applicant, and then we can address any questions that we might have.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kevin Bennett. I'm an architect with Bennett Sullivan Associates, here representing the owner of this project and the applicant. What I'd like to start off with is we had a fairly comprehensive presentation to you at our last meeting. Vince McDermott did his presentation on the traffic and the impact that was asked by the previous chair, just to get an idea of how this and all the other pieces of this new regulation would affect Main Street. We explained our project. We explained that it basically meets all the parameters of the zoning of the existing underlying zone, which Vince was emphasized the fact that you don't want to get too far outside of what the existing zoning is for coverage, area, parking, septic, things of that nature. We went through everything, and what I'd like to do is, if we could, enter all that information into this public hearing now that it's open. We also went to planning, and they had reviewed the whole project. They had a few comments on the traffic. They requested, or they discussed having a third traffic study done that would check the work of SLR as well as our Kimling and Horn that did the traffic and presented to them. Bob Harrison made the motion that he felt that we've had plenty of traffic studies done on Main Street. SLR looked at it, and our traffic engineer looked at it. There was no effect on the level of service A and B on Main Street. One of the other comments that came up was about having the applicant do the synchronization of the traffic on Main Street. And we had our traffic engineer look into that, and we got a letter today from them reviewing the comment of synchronization. We don't believe it's the responsibility of the applicant. We feel that there's state and federal money for traffic signalization that can be gotten by the town. I've talked to some of our town representatives here. And, you know, because it's state intersections, two of them, and all the towns' synchronization, like I say, I don't believe it's the applicant's responsibility to synchronize the lights on Main Street. But this is what this letter addresses. If you want to read that into the record, Mr. Chairman, or?
A two-page letter? No, I don't want to read that into the
Okay.
record. Thank you, though.
Would you like me to? Or do we need to or not?
I mean, along the lines of the letter that we received, I suppose we can put it in as part of the exhibits. I don't feel compelled or obliged to read it out loud.
Okay. The basic gist of the letter was that synchronization may not do a whole lot for the situation, which was the exiting of the property could have level service D on a left turn lane at the peak hour of the day on a weekend. And what they were basically saying is signalization tries to get all the cars to move together down Main Street, but because some of the lights are so far away that they wouldn't travel in a pack all the way down. They'd start to split up anyhow, so it wouldn't have a major effect on this site. Again, I go back to the fact that it doesn't affect the level of service for Main Street, and the only place there is, may it be a delay, is in our driveway, but we also have a connector to Union Square. If for whatever reason there was an accident or something in front of the property and you couldn't get out, you could go through Union Square, use their entrance across from Walgreens, or you could go out towards the police station and go down to the signal light. So there's plenty of ways in and out of this property. The amount of traffic is minimal because of the use. Those peak hours that they talked about, I kind of disagree with them a little bit because the apartments don't all have people that work, 9 to 5. So they're not all leaving in the morning and they're not all coming home at night. These are very mixed use apartments. We have a lot of experience with our other ones. People come and go throughout the day and there's very little traffic comes in. I mean, we have a 14 unit that, you could basically take a nap in the driveway and, you wouldn't be bothered for an hour at a time, so. But the other concern that they asked about was bringing up the level of the design around the building. I don't have a problem with that. On the south side, which is what faces Union Square, the building's all clapboard with AZAC trim, which we do with most all of our buildings on Main Street. We can do something on the side that faces Union Square, but as far as the back and the side that faces north towards 325, those basically aren't even going to be seen by the time we landscape, and all the existing foliage is there. The back faces off into it's going to be a graded bank, and stones, gravel banks behind that. So, but we will address the side towards Union Square.
So the condition here reads, extended across the entirety of the building to provide a cohesive design. So you're saying that you're ready to do part of that?
Well, we upgraded the front of it, and we'll do the side towards Union Square. We will address, the rear and the side towards 325, but not to the extent of this sort of level of design, because it's never going to be seen. we still have to remember that, you know, we're trying to do this as housing that's affordable. This is not high-end luxury. Sorry, Mark.
It's your project, Kevin.
I
It's your
know.
project.
Well,
It's gonna be A1.
Well, there's a balance between good housing and, you know, you start to get high-end housing, and that defeats the purpose of what we're trying to provide for the
That's
community.
probably true, yeah.
I mean, if these are $6,000 or $7,000 a month, we'll do anything you want.
Well, let me just go right to this, my impressions of these conditions. I think that, you know, the idea that there should be not just a facade facing the street is probably a good idea.
Well, it's not. It goes around, and we're gonna do the side, everything that'll be
Giving
seen.
you my impressions.
Yeah.
I'm with Commissioner Harrison, I'm not inclined to feel strongly about another independent traffic study. On the other hand, your own guys, and they've addressed it somewhat, they point out to page 13 in their traffic impact study.
Mhm.
Haven't read this closely enough to see if they recommend something else besides synchronization. I don't,
They didn't bring up the synchronization
So
at all.
I wonder if it wouldn't be too much to ask your guys to suggest something besides synchronization that would address it.
Okay.
And, you know, because it's a bit of a tricky entry and exit onto Main Street.
Yeah.
And there's no denying it. And I know we'd all agree that we've experienced whenever there's something that happens on 84,
Yeah,
forget it.
yeah.
So, you know, knowing all of that, it would be nice to explore other alternatives besides synchronization.
Okay, I mean, I don't have a problem asking them to do a look-see, but like I say, their presentation showed not affecting level of service on Main Street at A to B. The only place that it ever occurred is in the driveway, exiting, taking a left-hand turn. All the other movements are no problem at all.
And you can still get to a signal, for, like, if you go through the other parking lot, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so that's what I saw about it. And it's just like, if people are really that concerned, they'll just go to that signal.
I really don't think you'll ever see anyone
Yeah,
making that move. I watch people all up and down Main Street all day long, and, you know, all kinds of driveways are hard to get in and out of.
There's
I
some
mean, I
truth
made
to
the
that.
recommendation to take the light out in front of Planet Fitness and close that exit in, because I believe that that was done for Stone's Hardware and the Southbury Food Center back when they had tractor-trailer trucks making deliveries. You've got two stores now that neither of which need that exit only in the middle of the property. You have two entrances plus an exit only, and you've got a light that's about 75 feet from another light.
That's
You
true.
don't have enough room to make the turn to take a right. I mean, I look at that all the time. I take pictures of it. And if any of you want them, I'll send them to you. But, you know, there's like 25 cars all parked in between two lights and sitting there waiting for something to happen. So if that light were taken out, you'd find that that would open up Main Street quite a bit, and that would save you the cost of maintaining a light every year.
So moving on to the final condition recommended by the planning commission was stormwater management. And I don't know if you have any issue with that. I know it was something that I had intended to raise last time,
Well,
and I
Megan's
neglected.
here, but the stormwater maintenance is on the plan, so all our properties have that, and the town does request, you know, maintenance and management to be done. You know, catch basins to be cleaned out, infiltrators to be cleaned out, things of that nature. Go ahead, Meg.
Good evening, Megan Miller with Civil One, representing the applicant.
Hello?
Yes, as mentioned on the last page of the Civil Plans C 6.3. We have a responsibility for the plan, which clearly outlines who is responsible for the maintenance and maintaining of the soil erosion controls, as well as maintenance plan for the stormwater system. So we would recommend annual cleaning of the catch basins, inspection of the stormwater system, and then again, we also outline the responsibility of that. I believe the condition of approval is to provide those reports to the town. We would have no issues with, making that a condition of the approval.
So if I'm understanding you, these conditions that the Planning Commission felt had to be passed on to us have either been met or you're going to meet with
They-
regard to the stormwater.
Correct, yes. They've been met on the plans, and then as far as the reporting, we would be fine with meeting that.
They've been standard procedure on submissions for many years.
So the word recorded means recorded on the land records?
No,
Yeah.
all of these are recorded in the town.
So,
but-
but the stormwater management agreement is a little bit different.
Yeah, so it's agreement, to my understanding, typical agreement that this will be maintained. And that would be, we'd be meeting that, and we could do that.
So really, the only part where we're somewhat stuck is how much facade and how far to go with the traffic study. Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from commissioners? Okay. Jordan, anything you want to point out before I say we're going to leave it open for 30 days?
Nope, I think clarifying point, the motion by Commissioner Harrison was wasn't a motion. He wanted to make a comment for clarity. So if a independent traffic study is not followed up by this commission, this will turn into a negative referral, and that will change the voting requirement for the zoning commission. That's not to say that you guys still can't make that decision to avoid the independent traffic study. It just changes the voting requirements a little bit. Traffic signal, or the traffic synchronization wasn't for all of Main Street. It was for the Depot Hill and Peter Road intersections. And then the stormwater management agreement is going to be filed on the land records, is going to address inspection schedules, establish a clear and responsible party, and enact an enforcement mechanism in the event of noncompliance.
So to follow up on your comment about turning into an unfavorable recommendation, because these conditions become part of the joint reference, and if we're taking something out, that renders it unfavorable now.
Correct.
All right, well,
The conditions of their positive referral. If those conditions are not met, then it is no longer considered a proposal.
well, I'm just offering my opinion, and, everybody's free to vote their own feeling on that. I think that there's been a lot of traffic studies, and most of us have personal familiarity with the area. It's not a very mysterious thing that adding more cars to this area is going to add more cars. On the other hand, this is a really well thought out and considerate project, and I want to see where we go with it, and that's my feeling.
So in the interest of potential decisions or moving anything forward today, we have two applications before us. One is the general plans. That's going to be effectively landing a new zone on the parcel and establishing the regulations that you've all received copies of today. Detailed plans, after the general plans are approved, essentially approve the site development that's in front of you. Landscaping, lighting, architecture, every nitty-gritty detail that's going to be associated with this project will be approved as part of the detailed plans portion. What the commission should look at these two items individually, because you will need to scrutinize the regulation text that you're approving for this site and make sure that it comports with the future development that's going to be established under the detailed plans. There are a couple notes that I have, and we can go through a couple pages just to make sure that the applicant is aware of the notes and the commission understands them, and if everyone feels inclined, you can make recommendations that those aspects be added or those items be amended. Anything other than that, it's really just addressing the conditions of the planning commission referral here, which the commission is already underway in.
Hey, Jordan, forgive my confusion here, I still don't really understand the difference between the traffic study that we did versus what planning is asking for.
Okay, the text amendment that the zoning commission approved on January 14th was a text amendment to modify section 12. Section 12 is the regulation text that allows any of these type of projects, a planned development district, to move forward. Within section 12, the governing regulation that allows a development like this to move forward, there were provisions that limited acreage and your eligibility to be a planned development district, which establishes your own regulations and your own zone, or a planned development unit, sub 5 acres, that just allowed you to modify certain special exception uses. So if a restaurant was allowed on a site and you wanted to do a PDU to allow office and retail in addition, that would be the purpose of a PDU. But you can't change the underlying text of the zone. You can't modify site coverage like this applicant is looking to do. All of that is prohibitive to them, and that's why this commission went through a zoning text change. What SLR was contracted to do was to review traffic impacts to Main Street South as a result of a broad scoping zoning regulation change that was to the entire Main Street South corridor. Okay, so what SLR came in and said was effectively, you have to monitor all these changes. If 5 applicants came in on different parcels on Main Street South and all wanted variable zoning regulations and to change their sites, what that consultant reviewed and consulted this commission on was effectively, you want to try and maintain at the very least the floor coverage and the lot coverage. Everything else can be affected and altered to a certain degree and not impart a lot of load of traffic onto Main Street South. What's before you, though, is the regulation text that this applicant is proposing and petitioning, and if this commission moves forward today, we're going to want to make sure that this regulation text is locked and tight so that moving forward with the detailed plans is a smooth process.
Yeah, so even though they're independent, they still sort of go together.
Exactly.
Okay, thanks, Jordan.
So, I was discussing with, and reviewing the regulations, and it looks like it needs some more work to me. And I pointed out to Jordan, and then, for example, this is just an example, because I only read it through once, really. 2.1, permitted uses doesn't seem to include retail, which doesn't make any sense.
So I read through section 2 a bit more. You have to, in jumping into 2.1, you have to understand section 2 in its entirety. What that states is all provisions of the zoning regulations that are applicable in the B3, that's an error and that should be amended to B3C zone, existing on the effective date of adoption of PDD 24 or any amendment thereto shall be applicable to PDD 24. What that's effectively saying is if you go through the use table today and you
Yep.
go to the B3C use table, there's a bunch of things that are approved as far as uses, being sit-down restaurants, takeout general service, retail, office. There's a number of things that are already permitted there. Those are included already, just based on the nature of this
just-
sentence.
What's that?
And then
Accessory
2.1, 2.2, it jumps to 2.3, that's another error, should be, or jumps to 2.4, should be 2.3. Those elaborate on additional permitted uses that are being provided by this applicant.
If I find it, actually.
Page
Yeah.
5,
All right, so it's in there somewhere, it's just not where one might expect it.
where you expected it under 2.2, 2.3, 2.4. It's essentially covered in the body of the paragraph under item 2, PDD regulation number 24. Page 5. That's not to say that, I mean, we just bumped into a couple errors that we'll want to iron out on this. There's a couple other things that we can go into, unless commissioners have other comments that they want to address at this moment.
No, I think what I was leading up to is that it might make sense just to leave the hearing open on both
Okay.
of them, rather than try to force a vote.
Do you want to go through some of these items, or do you want?
Sure, while we're here, why not?
Okay, so, if everyone's on the front page of the regulation text,
Yeah,
we'll want to add, 2 more sections from section 12 to this, being 12.1.4 and 12.1.5. Those are relatively straightforward and just clarifying in relation to how PDD text has been drafted up until this date. If we go on to page 2. Note G, similar to note B, should denote the square footage of specific areas of the building, and
wait, it ends at F.
yep, so note G should be.
It is not.
I'm aware.
Okay.
I'm making that
Adding the
recommendation.
sheet.
Oh, okay, I see what you're
Sorry,
saying.
guys.
Thank you.
No worries. So note G should be similar to note B, but it should denote square footage of certain areas and where those areas are specified, i.e. how much square footage of retail, how much square footage of residential, how much square footage of common, all that stuff will be sussed out.
Okay.
This might sound kind of fickle as it's related to regulations, but if we don't have this text down pat, you're leaving areas open to confusion, and this is kind of the standard operating procedure that PDDs have gone through in the past. But I'm ready to jump on to page 4. Another minor error. We'll want to denote the revision dates of the current plan set that's been submitted to the commission, as it's reflected on the regulation text. So whatever the updated plan set, whether it be this one or any subsequent plan sets, we'll want to make sure that those are accurately represented.
Page 4.
Page 4, where it delineates all of the drawings, detailed plans,
Oh,
S100,
they're the dates, thank you.
SP, yep. So the dates are just a little off. We'll want to make sure those are exact.
Okay.
If everyone's ready for page 5. Item number 2, the sentence reads, "All provisions of the zoning regulations that are applicable in B3 business districts." That will want us to read B3C business district, because that is the zone that we are in, that we are referencing. Minor error on 2.1, it should read 2.1.1, 2.1.2, and then jump into 2.1.3. Additionally, as it's reading, 2.1.4 should elaborate on the accessory uses that are provided. Some of the accessory uses that are provided under this site are common areas under the patio. We have gyms, we have electric vehicle charging stations, we have storage. These are all accessory uses that we'll want to elaborate in the regulation text.
So
Jump.
rather than just saying all other uses that might be permitted by the regulations generally.
These are accessory uses. What I'm talking about under 2.1.4 are
Yeah, I understand
specifically
that,
accessory.
but the way I think of a catch-all thing like that is to say all other permitted uses or accessory uses are allowed, rather than try to list each one.
So this is why we need PDD text to be specific. You have to start listing each one, otherwise you open yourself up to accessory uses that aren't clearly established.
Oh,
From an enforcement perspective, we deal with PDDs every day, and when the regulations aren't just so. The trouble with PDDs, any modification they want to make, they have to come back before the zoning commission
yeah,
under a
I
petition.
remember trying to figure out what white is, what color
Correct.
color
Yeah,
white is
for
on the
Willow Creek,
house. Yeah, I remember
absolutely.
that.
But that is what made Willow Creek eligible for the site development that they achieved out there. Similar to this development, we are gonna have to make sure that the PDD
Okay.
regulations are exact.
All right, so specified,
But it doesn't leave any, I'm sorry, hey,
go ahead, yeah.
it doesn't leave any, flexibility for future change, right? Like,
It's not supposed to.
but the point is like, so every time a new technology exists that could be used in accessory, we have to rewrite this?
That's
It doesn't-
exactly the process that we go through for the other 23 PDDs in town. Anytime there's something in the text that needs to change, we have to come back before the zoning commission. That's why this is such an advantageous application type, because this commission holds the ultimate control.
But why not just
But this
have it,
commission should be able to have some other, add some language that allows some flexibility, right?
or like, why not say any other accessory is, you know, should be reviewed and held per.
So what you're
like-
doing here
Third schedule.
is you're
separate
actually,
schedule.
in words, you're writing what the site is today, in its exact shape, form, uses, building, all of it. You're writing that in strict language. If a change wants to occur in the future, the applicant, like any other applicant under a site development plan, would come back before the commission. That's the process we've always seen. That's the process that's been upheld thus far.
So
There's PDDs on Riverview, there's PDDs at Stop and Shop, there's PDDs at ShopRite, and if they want to change signage minorly, they come back before this commission to get approval to do so.
Yeah, and the language that, you know, I keep referring back to what the language the lawyers use is, permission will not be unreasonably withheld, is sort of the, don't worry, we're gonna do something, sort of language. But I think that's understood. I don't think it needs to be expressed in these. I haven't seen anyone not get a modification to their PDD
I agree.
if they've
But
come
what
in.
I'm going through here is exactly what's been done in other PDDs.
Yeah.
Every aspect of their accessory uses, including electric vehicle charging stations, are elaborated and stated specifically.
So on to page 6, or there's something
Well-
else?
I have a question. How often does it change from PDD to PDD on what accessory uses are being allowed? Like, so this PDD, we have X, Y, Z, and then another PDD comes along. Are those accessory uses ever very, very different from each other?
So a PDD is specific to the actual site that we're speaking about here.
But the accessory uses, generally speaking,
Vary for every site
Those might
and
change
every
as well.
special exception. So we just got done, Planning Commission just got done approving an accessory use of the press box theater at the Voices newspaper. That's a completely additional business to
Yeah.
what's there, but it's accessory. We can't broadly say all accessory uses are permitted, because then
Oh,
this development could have a press box theater. You want to be specific in exactly what you're denoting, and if a change occurs in the future, the applicant comes back, reports to this commission what their desired change is, you
But
include it in the
it-
regulation, and then you modify it.
is there just a lot that are extremely common, I guess, that could be just blanket granted in some way? Or is
Well, I
that
named, I think, 4,
like EV
and
chargers?
those were
Yeah, what about-
storage spaces, which this applicant has provided storage spaces to all their tenants. Rooftop patio, which this applicant has provided a rooftop patio to its residents. A gym, another thing that they've provided to their residents, and electric vehicle charging stations. So long as none of these things change, they're approved accessory uses for this site, which you as the commission need to establish. Otherwise, it's a vague interpretation of the zoning regulations and what's allowed to go on a mixed-use development.
Thank you. Page 6? We
Let's go
good?
to page 6.
I have a question on page 7 when we get there.
Okay.
Can I just go back to accessories for 1 second? I know everybody's annoyed by this conversation. Is there a way to create a schedule that is like, we can point to, that's outside of the specific regulation that can be updated more easily? Like a separate schedule, I don't even know what you would call it, a
For-
accessories list or something?
For the
that we could
zoning
just-
regulation, for the
Yeah,
the comprehensive zoning regulations for the town,
yeah.
this is specific to this site.
I
So the
guess,
zoning regulations
But I
for the
mean,
town,
couldn't this point to that is what my point is, right? Like, so, say we have something in the zoning regulations that is a schedule for accessory vehicles and, or whatever, I'm sorry, accessory uses, and then if you're coming forward in front of us for a PDD, we don't have to specifically review every one of them if it's
well,
already
the
in it.
specific accessory uses I named are specific to this site and what the applicant has proposed. I'm not proposing anything that they haven't expressly stated that they want. And just to your point, if accessory uses can be as broad as a theater in the basement of the Voices newspaper, it'd be pretty difficult to address a table of standard uses that we could then just point to.
Okay.
Page 6?
Please.
Wonderful. Height, we're gonna wanna word this a little bit differently and make sure it's defined per the Southbury zoning regulations. Southbury zoning regulations define height a little bit differently, and we'll wanna make sure that the applicant is following our specific definition in the zoning regulations. Because right now it just says defined per regulations, and that leaves it open-ended to any definitions that would be included herein.
Oh, you're on 2.3 height. It's on
Yep.
page 5 of the version. we
Yeah.
got. You said 6, it's fine, it's fine.
So yeah, 2.3 for height. We'll wanna make sure that the wording is defined per the Southbury zoning regulations, not per regulations.
But 40 feet is like what's in those regulations, right?
40 feet is the regulation, in measuring the height of a building or part thereof or other structure determined in compliance with the maximum height provisions. Measurements shall be taken from the average level of the highest roof in the building or part thereof, and from the, it goes on to elaborate the specific metrics for how you measure height.
How it's calculated, okay.
All right, any other questions?
I had a question.
We haven't gotten to 7 yet.
Okay.
Okay, one more item. And the applicant can speak to this one a bit more. They've reflected the side setback to be 20 feet, and they already provide the existing 25 feet on the plans. I'm just curious what the 20-foot request is when they have already accommodated this design plan with the existing B3C's 25-foot setback. Yeah, I figured as much, but if we can stay consistent with the existing zone anywhere we can, it's best. So if it's an oversight,
In my presentation, I thought we met all the setbacks and coverage and height.
this is the only one that changes. Yeah, so we'll just want to make sure it's 25 feet instead of 20 feet to maintain the existing zone.
And 0 feet from residential boundary is
You
standard.
know what concerns me about that, Jordan?
Can you just step up to the mic, please?
Which paragraph are we on?
We're on setbacks.
Page 5.
And now you're,
2.4 setback.
Hugh Sullivan, architect with Bennett Sullivan.
Gotcha.
What concerns me about that, just thinking ahead, is what if somebody wants on this building to add awnings on that side or near a setback? I mean, I'd rather have a little bit of buffer to be able to do it.
If the commission
Yeah,
sees
no, I
awnings
understand.
being
It
the
just,
move.
you know,
right-
again,
Right now, your patios are accommodated within the setback.
Right.
Would you expect the awnings to be
I
so
have no
far?
idea. You know, again, the process isn't easy. So if there was a change and residents wanted to put awnings on the side of the building or the owner, you know, we'd have to be coming back here. I'd rather be able to look at the plan and say, hey, I have a 5-foot buffer here, I'm okay. Versus they gotta come in and write the regs again?
Your regs don't address awnings.
No, I understand
I
that,
mean, we'd be back to
Yeah.
that question anyway.
yeah.
And Mark, you've been through this commission a number of times. We've addressed
Yeah.
dozens and dozens of PDD modifications, whether it be balconies on Pomprog Woods or signage at ShopRite. 2 months is generally the standard. We have to follow Connecticut general statutes to set a public hearing because this is amendment to a text, and that's the process. If the commission sees a beneficial idea that the applicant is coming forth with, generally pretty smooth. I've not seen you guys beat up anyone who requested a modification to something that was relatively straightforward or met the intent of the original development. That's why you guys devised in section 12 that these modifications, if deemed minor enough, do not have to go before the planning commission for a referral because of this exact process. You want people to come back to you, you want them to ask permission for these items. This is the process.
What about the 0 feet from the residential boundary, is that a normal setback?
So there are no residential boundaries here? I believe that's just why they included that. We could write 100 feet, frankly, if,
Doesn't matter, okay, yeah.
yeah. And I think that brings us to 7, and that is 2.5.1 for people whose pages are all screwed up.
There.
Yeah, no, honestly, mine is too. I think the printer jumped a couple pages, but,
So this is the maximum lot coverage?
correct, yep.
So is there some issue that we need to discuss?
You had mentioned a note for page 7.
Yes, okay, my page 7 is on, my question is with regard to parking.
Okay, so, yep, my page.
It's just a general question. It doesn't appear to me that you've, the PDD or your plans or anything that I've read, haven't read everything, segregates the residential parking spaces from the retail spaces. So I don't know if that's something that needs attention, doesn't need attention. Seems to me if you get real busy, they're gonna wanna park around back. I don't know. I don't know if that's something that even warrants discussion.
I think we've done that basically by design. We have our retail in the front of the building, we have the parking in front of the building, we have a retail entrance on the side of the building, we have parking on the side of the building. We have more than ample amount for the apartments. There's an outdoor parking on the upper lot in the back, as well as the courtyard within side of it. So, excuse me. As far as we met all the regulations for providing parking based on the required parking regulations, so there'll be more than enough parking on the site. We don't delineate or,
No signage saying
Assigned
for residents
parking.
only, anything like that?
no.
No.
You get into a lot of issues with, you know, you parked in my place, it's that, and we get that in some of our buildings where people are used to parking in the same spot for 3 years and somebody new moves in and they start parking in that spot, but you can't do assigned parking with a building like this.
So do or do you know if the leases contemplate assigned parking spaces, or you just, the leases for the residential units, will they have an assigned space? No, not numbered spaces, nothing.
And, I mean, can you just put like a sign up that says residential parking and point to the back? Is that something that you can do?
Well, the residents know kind of where they're parking, and the retail is gonna come and park in front of the store and walk in. I mean, if someone were to park in the back and walk down to go to a retail shop, I mean, at Bennett Square, we've got, 3 different parking lots, and people park here and walk to the other side, walk over there, come back.
That's true.
Okay.
That's more, I would consider that more housekeeping. We don't have to really get involved with that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if the owner found that were an issue, he could decide to start painting numbers on all the spots and telling everybody you get, spot 82 or whatever it is. But at this point in time, we've not had that issue to need it.
Okay, thank you.
We
That's all I
don't
had on
want to try
page
to
7.
solve a problem that we don't have yet.
All right, what else, Jordan?
We'll want to delineate under item D for 2.6.3 off-street parking, the number of spaces held in reserve. So if you've looked at the 108 parking spaces provided and done a count on the numbers, what you have is the 12 in the center that are held in reserve, and then 2 up front.
I have 2 Cs.
Yeah.
You have what?
You mean, you got 2 Cs there for ours.
Oh, yeah, another good point. We'll want to,
So you're talking the second C.
that's a great point. Honestly, I'm adding a new one altogether. I was going D, but this would be,
Ah,
this would be E.
this would be E. Okay, thank you.
E should delineate the number of parking spaces held in reserve. So as you all see, there's that central island area, that's 12 spaces. There's also 2 spaces that are held in reserve. If you're looking at the building, this is the leftmost retail unit. That unit is a potential for a takeout service style restaurant, small scale, and 2 spaces are held in reserve at that location for a potential outdoor eating and sitting area. So the total number of parking spaces ends up being a little bit different. It ends up being 94 with 14 held in reserve. So we'll want to just make sure that that's noted.
And there's 30 residential? There's like 30 residential,
34
apartments?
residential units,
Okay.
yep, 52 bedrooms total.
That's still a massive amount of parking then.
So our current regulations, if you were to just design this site for exactly what we say in Southbury that you need 106 spaces. So if we used up all of the reserve, we'd have 2 spaces more than what our zoning regulations even call for. So it's relatively hanging in that sweet spot, and frankly, the benefit of the spaces held in reserve hold an intrinsic value to the development, and if at any point those were deemed necessary, that's why they're held in reserve. A change would happen at that point.
Okay.
All right, we're on to landscaping 2.6.5. An enforcement mechanism if landscaping is found to be out of compliance. This is something that we deal with a lot when trees die and they're not replaced. It's just a simple language of enforcement that makes sure that any piece of landscaping that's on this approved plan that's found to be deficient or needs to be removed for any reason will be promptly replaced.
Do we need to say that the zoning enforcement officer can approve it without review by the commission?
I have no issue with that. If you guys want to do it that way, if a change needs to occur to the landscaping, you want to leave it up to the zoning enforcement officer, so long as the landscaping is in kind with the original approval. Do
Yeah, that would
include some
be
language
a
like
little
that.
bit simpler than coming back to the commission.
Applicant already addressed this under signs in the event that there was any parking signs necessary, but it sounds like that's not. Similar, if there are any EV station charging signage that would be necessary, we would want to include that in the signs portion of the regulation. And then that pretty much does it for the substantive edits. Yep, that's all I got.
Thank you, Jordan, for taking us through that.
So these changes are gonna be made, so you're gonna make updates and changes to this, and then it's gonna come back to us for approval? finally?
These are my call-outs to this commission. These are my recommendations to this commission. If they feel so inclined that everything that I've touched on here should be included, then the applicant is here today. It's on the record what the recommendations were. We can make sure that those are included and ready for the next public hearing in March.
Hugh Sullivan, regarding the edits. Jordan, what I'm used to doing is what you're doing right now with this board. I still want them to go ahead and approve the general plans, but then I correct the work for you before it gets filed. And so that's the direction I hope we could go. Yeah, I just don't want to wait another month.
Well, I guess one concern might be that if the detailed plans end up varying in some way that needs attention to go back to the general plan. And I'm referring now specifically to the facade that hasn't been quite resolved, and to the, any mitigation of the traffic other than synchronization, which hasn't been resolved. So I'm not trying to hang you up here.
No, I understand that.
I don't
It's
want to
just-
have to do it twice.
Personally, as a design professional, just for the record that we're here, I've done plenty of these PDDs, okay? I've never had them get hung up on traffic like the way this has. I don't enjoy commissioners, not this one, they act like traffic engineers. We've got Denbo's across the street from this site that's completely different than this residential use, okay? Our traffic engineer is very good, very reputable. I mean, I just don't know why we have to do another traffic study.
I'm not,
I understand.
I'm with you on that.
Synchronization to me has always been done by the town or DOT. I don't know how the applicant does it. I don't know what, it just doesn't make sense to me. The edits, I've normally handled with the planning administrator and made the corrections, and then he signed, and then we filed them for the record.
If,
Which we would still vote on the changes as you've made.
Based upon, we agree with them. We agree with them, with your resolution. You vote on it, And then, you know, part of that resolution is that we have to fix the regulations so it can get filed.
As we've discussed them today, that's correct. What the chairman is speaking about is if a change after this meeting occurs, whether it be to the facade, which is still up in the air, and access and circulation in the event that a turning lane needs to be addressed, or any other simple improvement that your traffic engineer comes back with, those changes would need to be reflected on the text. And that's why the chairman is making this comment before you today.
They would have to come back here anyway, even if we approved it right now with those changes, if, the planning, if, you know, if there was a disagreement anyway, you would probably still come back to us saying that there's a disagreement.
The process is different. So if a modification to the, if you approve the text today, and then at the next meeting, it was found that a minor change needed to be submitted, they have to submit a new petition to amend the regulations. We have to set another public hearing, and we have to amend the regulations in the same process that we are amending the regulations today.
So it's annoying, but it's easier to leave it open, in my opinion.
I mean, it seems more annoying for them than it does for us at that
Well,
point.
I want them to be assured that, you know, I'm not gonna come up with new issues. We've got it down to a couple things.
Well, we just came up with another new issue today.
I mean, going back to the facade, I believe Mr. Bennett is correct. There's nothing behind him, and there's nothing to the north side of that. So fixing up the, you know, south side like he stated, I think, correct.
Yeah.
And for the traffic, I don't know how many more studies we can do. I mean, it is gonna add some traffic, but I don't know how you can really synchronize it, because you got people pulling in and out in front of you all the time. It's not like these driveways aren't there. I mean, it is what it is.
And also,
At the end of the day, it's it is. It's just what our traffic is. We have to live with it.
And I also go back to the only place that there's an issue is the left-hand turn, out of the site from our site.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, our drivers are coming out of Union, is that Union Square?
Yes.
They're turning right out of Union Square. You're turning left out of your driveway. Denmo's is across the street. There's stuff, you know,
It's 1,000 points to the end.
I mean,
That's all of Main Street.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, maybe.
we need to implement traffic circles, is the real answer here.
Everywhere we can.
Well, it's an issue that was raised by your traffic study guy, and I would appreciate, for my own reference, mitigation besides synchronization, which I think is a big ask.
We have no problem having the traffic engineer relook at this and come up with some alternatives. If they're not excessive, we'll just do them, we'll include them in there. As far as the elevations go, we're gonna work on the elevations. The two other elevations are not bad-looking elevations, they're basically the same materials that we use on all our other buildings. Because we did the front of this in brick, and somebody wants brick around the whole building, it wasn't designed to be a brick building.
And to Jordan's point, that if we do vary the conditions, we are going to need a supermajority or a unanimous vote.
Mhm.
So
Can you
there's that.
can you explain that again? We need a supermajority or a majority vote for what?
So if we change the referral back or the conditions from planning, which, you know, we can discuss it some more, but I'm leaning that way myself, we would require a different, bigger majority
Rather than just a simple majority.
rather than just a simple majority. So
Make it unanimous.
that's
Right.
not up to me, but.
Is it worth bringing a motion to vote to see where we're at? On whether or not we approve moving forward with the changes that are made to the regulations?
Well, you know, I just put it out there, I'm not against that. Again, we still have the issue of these couple of things that are sort of more than just language out there.
Mr. Chairman, isn't that where the resolution comes in? Usually we have a resolution before we come to this meeting, so we know what the things are that are gonna be talked about. We never received any of that.
You do it?
So,
Yeah.
well, there should have been a resolution so that we know
Well-
what we were addressing.
We're just given this material today, yesterday and today. So to ask us to come up with a resolution distilling this into a written form that made sense and we could vote on is, you know, we're ready to work, but you know, I guess I'd leave it to Jordan. If you think that that's within reason to vote on it and leave it up to you guys to edit it out and work on it, then I'm okay, but I don't wanna, you know, overcook it, let's say.
If this commission makes a motion that the applicant is to go back to their traffic engineer and solutions to the level D of service and level C of service, leaving in the AM and PM hours, and those solutions require a change to this text, you run into an issue. If there are no solutions and we don't need to open up the text again, then what the applicant is saying is fair, because no other change was really substantive. We can make notes based on the record, but
I don't really see anything that they can really do that would improve traffic in that area, though.
Right.
it's exiting traffic. Step up to the mic, Megan, absolutely.
I'm sure there are.
Megan.
If I may, if you take a look at the report that was submitted tonight from the traffic engineer,
Yes.
they reference in the third paragraph what the highway capacity manual considers is a normal level of service for a driveway. So I'm just going to read this real quick. As indicated on page 13 of the project traffic study, level of service D describes a condition where congestion levels are more noticeable. However, as indicated in the highway capacity manual, quote, "It is not unusual for an intersection to experience a level of service E or F conditions for a minor street with left turn movement. It should be understood that often a poor level of service is experienced only by a few vehicles and that the intersection as a whole operates acceptably," end quote.
And those few vehicles will be the 5 out of the 33 that are making a left turn.
And that is a level of service E or F.
It's only when that time of day is, right, during the level of service, which is E or F, which is not all day, so it's some
That's a 1 hour.
1 hour peak time. There's a chance that 5 cars are, I don't know what the word is, encumbered by the difficulty of making a left turn.
Correct. And this is the highway capacity manual is the guideline for all traffic engineering. So any additional report is going to come up with the same guidelines. They're using the same measuring point, if that makes sense.
All 5 would have to be making a left turn, because
Yeah.
people making a right turn would be able to do it.
And we're talking about 25 seconds here, right? That's what this says, is that,
25 to 35.
The next
Yeah.
paragraph says 28.8 is the level of.
it's the average, right?
Yeah.
And the people that are living there, making this left-hand turn, they're gonna learn to go another way after, right, after waiting 2 or 3 times, they're gonna learn how to get around that. That's just people, correct.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
88 Main Street, the Southbury Deli and 32 Poverty, that's a major thoroughfare compared to Main Street.
Yeah, I don't disagree with this could be, encumber someone's commute or their experience, but I question holding this up for another month because 5 people might have to wait 25 seconds a day. I feel like this committee's already our commission, has looked at this a lot, and we've considered it, and, a reasonable amount of work has been put into the traffic study, and I would be a proponent for moving forward with the regulation change with the adjustments we just talked with Jordan about, with the exception of if something else comes back in the traffic and additional work needs to be done, you guys come back to us, right? Like if this additional, if during, I don't think the study has to be done personally, but if the commission votes on it, I think we should allow for that to be addressed later.
Okay, my understanding is that if we close the hearing and take a vote and approve it, then we cannot come back and modify it without having a new cycle of hearings start.
But if we're addressing the things that you're asking us to address, that's not a change.
Oh, yeah.
I have no issue with what Jordan has edited on the reg, no issue. That's common.
That's part of the resolution.
They're all.
Right, so he's indicated his thoughts on the language. We don't have the language in front of us. So,
That's why we correct it, and then we give it back to him, if you give him permission to do the work.
Those are administrative changes that, you would have to give him the ability.
well, it's your PDD,
Yeah.
and you're locked into that language. And if it turns out that there's some other mitigation for the traffic, or you guys can't agree on the facade,
Well,
Then-
if they can't,
It's a reality.
Yeah, okay.
that's fine. I'm,
Thought, 6, 8 months ago.
No, that's a little bypassing this entirely.
Oh, okay, sorry.
We've been trying to get this because we believe in this zone change, and we believe in this process, and we've been involved with a lot of PDDs for almost 50 years, 45 years.
I'm not questioning any of that.
I'm just saying, I understand it all, and that's why we went along and went along and worked with and did all the work that we did.
So I think this is the first time it's been down? You withdrew it the first time? This is, for whatever reason, I didn't tell you to withdraw it. I didn't plan on it being withdrawn. I didn't plan on any of that.
Yeah.
So this is the first time it's down. It's entirely typical to keep a public hearing open for 30 days. There's nothing weird about that. I think we've done it, narrowed it down to 2 things. I would ask you guys if you, work it out and report that it's edited up and done, and you're both satisfied, it's done. And, I'm certainly not looking to hang you up for another traffic study. That doesn't,
So what
I
are,
don't get that.
so
Does
within
this
the
go-
next 30 days, what are you gonna try to accomplish, like with the facade? Are you gonna have to go back to the planning commission, or,
I hope not.
okay, no, but,
Can I just ask, is it possible for us to host like a special meeting for a vote?
About to, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Because if we just like, if we can't figure it out right now, if we just gave them like an extra week, is 7 days enough for this group to come back, see what's changed, and then vote?
That'd be up to the applicant, but there's no issue with this commission meeting at a more expeditious cadence
On the
than.
19th already?
Can we meet electronically? Like, send us the docs and we approve over email?
No.
Like,
No.
okay, sorry.
well, we'll probably have a quorum on the 19th to be able to do that anyway for the special meeting. Or the
So I guess,
special-
first, the question is like you said, up to the applicant, right? So is the applicant willing to give us a few days? Is the applicant willing to give us a few days, have a special meeting, and then we can vote at that time? Before we even like entertain it further?
2 weeks would give everybody all kinds of time, and that would be the 25th of February. There's no sense tripping over ourselves if we're not voting tonight, a week or 2 is not the end of the world, and then everybody has time to do what they need to do, 2 weeks.
We have a special meeting scheduled for the 19th. Kevin, is 2 weeks what you think would be necessary?
19th.
We do.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we can just.
Can we amend the agenda?
We can amend the agenda, yeah, because we
All right,
have
well, then we're
24
in.
hours to file it.
Okay.
We have more than enough time to accommodate that.
And the expectation is that the regulations will be updated based on the changes we discussed today by then?
Jordan on the edits. that's
It's
all.
Jordan on the
No
edits,
problem.
got it.
3 things though. It's the regulations, it's looking at the facade, and then what was the other one?
Mark has requested, it hasn't been made into a motion. None of this has been made into a motion, so we'll want to clarify this at the
Okay.
end of the meeting, just for the record. But Mark had a request that the applicant's engineer take a look at the level of service coming out of the site to see what can be done to improve it.
Other than synchronization.
Other
of the
than
lights, which
synchronization.
seems a long go.
They're traffic engineers. If timing Depot Hill and Peter Road is available to them from an engineering, traffic engineer perspective, timing is much less costly than synchronization. And if an improvement can be made from the traffic engineer and reflected to this commission, then changes can be accommodated. If left turn lane is the biggest issue, and the traffic engineer says, put in a left turn lane, then that's something that this commission can weigh in on, and we can modify the text to make sure that everything times out properly, and we're moving through this application cohesively. If they come back and say, there are no improvements, what we said initially is what it is, then this commission has a decision to make based on what it is.
Thank you, Jordan. So if we can amend the agenda, let's do that. I make a resolution, or
We have to
ask.
make it- we have to make a
We'll have,
motion for the.
Yeah,
you want
amended
that to-
agenda. We'll have resolutions for, at the very least, the general plans for
Yeah.
that day. Because
Yeah.
I imagine the commission wants more time to chew on some of the minor details of the detailed plans. But if you guys feel confident on both, we can make sure to have resolutions drafted. But
Okay.
I think the process should still remain. We'll land the zone change, and then this commission can take their time and move forward with the detailed plans. I'd like you guys to have a bit more bandwidth to open yourselves up to any minor changes that may need to occur that will really make this site something that we'll be proud of in the end.
What more do we need? I mean, we have detailed plans complete, and they've been in for a while.
We just got them. You've lived with them for a year. I've had them for 15 minutes. Hour and 15 minutes. So, do we need a vote on amending the agenda and scheduling this?
Nope, no vote on amending the agenda, but if you wanted to make a motion, and the request of the applicant based on the traffic engineer and a request on the facade, the commission can make those motions. They can also motion that the referenced amendments, stated here today are also included. So, 3 items pretty much, if you want to make motions too.
All right, so looking for a motion that the amendments that we've discussed and the request for further comment from the applicant's traffic engineer and the facade all be addressed.
Can we make 3 separate motions?
Yeah, can we do it in 3
I think
separate?
we need
Go
3
ahead.
separate motions.
Go
Okay, so
ahead.
I'm gonna make a motion that we, update the regulations and expect those to be, or brought back to, in front of the commission on the 19th for our final review based on the comments today. Anybody second?
Second.
Okay, perfect. And so all in favor?
I,
Aye. Okay, there's one.
Chairman's job.
Okay, sorry, my bad.
It's okay.
Okay.
You're doing good.
I'm not gonna make a motion on the traffic, so if somebody else wants to.
Yeah, I don't think we necessarily need to get them to go and say, there's not really anything we can do, because that's basically what's going to happen, like,
We'll see.
but I mean,
We'll push them to do the best they can or come up with the best solution they can.
I mean, I'm not a traffic engineer, I am an engineer, but I'm not a traffic engineer, but, I don't really see much that can be done in that area without just causing way more headaches for way more people than just the guys making the left turn, you know? And like-
I'll make a motion that, that the traffic engineer revisits this and come up with his best solution.
Got a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. And then finally, there's the facade.
We'll take and work on that.
All right, second, motion to review the facade changes.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so 3 votes. And hopefully there'll be something concrete we can act on the 19th.
Question?
Yes, sir?
Jordan, I want to ask you a question regarding detailed plans. I'm not used to them being a public hearing. You know, the general plans got approved, they got adopted. When it came time to do detailed plans, they handled it as a special exception. But maybe something's changed.
These are being handled as a public hearing,
Tonight we will
With
open
the
this hearing up.
because we have to refer to planning for detailed plans for PDDs.
Okay,
And therein lies the reason why this gets tied to a public
all
hearing.
right.
So we're gonna leave the public hearing open?
On the detailed plans and, the petition.
Yes. Yes.
Again, we had all our plans in planning, and they reviewed and went through, you know, all the weeds, and you have to send it back to planning for detailed plans?
Detailed plans have already been sent to planning, and they've already reviewed and sent their back their
We're done.
referral.
So we're done with planning,
With planning, yeah.
on detailed plans?
Mhm.
Okay, good.
That's what I thought.
Is that, did we see detailed plans?
Yes, we have them.
What's
We
in
have
front of
them
you is
just now.
detailed plans.
Oh,
Got
this is
just
it?
now.
Okay.
What we
I was thinking
dissected
drawings.
today
Okay.
was the text, which essentially covers the general plans.
Got it. Thanks.
But this,
We had the
I
building,
don't think
yeah,
that's
we had the
zoning- I don't
building
think zoning
plans.
We have all the architectural,
Mhm.
and all the
Okay.
engineering, and all the reports.
Yep.
I mean, there is no more that we can, we have state health approval,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's been reviewed by the fire marshal, I mean,
We should have everything we need.
Yeah.
we're done.
I just didn't know if you sent like updated drawings, so, okay. We were talking about the actual Word doc.
See, where this is confusing with the general and detailed plans, if we were coming before you with a project with general plans, we'd come before you with an idea.
Yeah.
There may not be a building, there may be some conceptual, we plan on having a building that might be this big and have this many cars, this is what the uses are. And general plans would approve that. Once general plans are in place, then we would go ahead and do a site plan application to bring in the engineers, you know, do the septic systems, the site testing. And now, because this project is so small, you know, it's,
This is a non- You're talking about a non-PDD.
No, that's a PDD.
that's pretty.
What we started this off as was a PDU or an 8-30G, which means we went in and designed this whole thing as a submission for a site plan approval. It then got into, and all the others that we've done, retail with housing above it, have gone through PDUs, and they were approved. The issue with the 15,000 square feet per unit had never been addressed in the past. It came up during this, and we thought that we would modify section 12 to take out the requirement of the land use, or the land area. And that's, we had all our drawings done to submit for, you know, a PDU, which was a special exception with planning. We didn't expect to be in a PDD and zoning. That's why all our plans are done. That's not the way a PDD usually is done. You do
Normally,
a design
yeah.
site plan with building looks and just ideas, and then you get the concept and the language done, and then you do all your engineering, because they're usually bigger projects.
and the client then buys the property when the general plans are approved.
Right. That's usually, it's
Okay.
contingent on buying.
So it's got the cart before the horse, so to
Yes.
speak.
Mm.
Well, no, we changed tracks
We didn't change the
halfway
horse.
through.
Well, again, you withdrew for whatever reason.
Yeah.
This is your first time back.
No, I understand that.
Okay.
but I'm explaining why we have all our plans done,
Oh, yeah,
because that's what we were submitting.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
So yes, the applicant chose to submit the general and detailed plans at the same time, so you are seeing them at the same time. As a result of, they increased the building and coverage size so much that we could not accommodate it in the underlying zone, and a PDD was the only metric that would accomplish this type of development.
Was the other metric.
Well, can't we leave that discussion for another time?
Sure.
Okay, why don't we do that? So are we, any other comments for the public hearing?
No.
All right, so where does that bring us on the agenda? Yes,
Yeah.
We
The
already-
19th,
yeah,
right?
We already did,
19.
yeah.
And we don't need to modify the
No,
plan for that meeting, right?
no, we don't need to modify the agenda.
it will be
We
modified.
can,
don't
we
need to-
can
We don't
change
have
it.
to vote on it.
We
yeah,
can
don't
change
vote
it.
on it.
We don't have to vote on the change to the agenda.
Alright.
So we're gonna put off the old business, the comprehensive zoning regulation rewrite. We're having a special meeting on the 19th. So we'll take that up then.
Mhm.
That brings us to correspondence,
So are we done?
unless you wanna tell me something else.
Any feedback about what your feelings are about the project? You started to entertain, take a straw vote. I'd certainly like to know.
I mean,
We're gonna find out on the 19th.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you both,
Thank
thank you
you.
all. All right, so correspondence, no? Or do you want to include?
Maybe that letter.
Yeah, you can include that.
Okay, so we have this correspondence. It's I don't want to say it's anonymous. I don't know if there's ever going to be someone attached to it, but it's been a letter submitted, and I don't know if, I don't intend to read it into the record. But we'll make it part of the file,
The exhibit.
the exhibit. It's unsigned.
Jordan, he said he's not reading it into the record, just so you know.
Sorry, what?
I'm not reading the anonymous letter into the record.
That's fine.
Okay.
Everyone's been provided it. Everyone understands its context related to the
Yes.
the petition here.
You're up, if you have something.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
So, we've been going through, last month, we got 16 zoning permits issued, continuing to keep up with the businesses on their temporary signage, and making sure that commercial residents, they're understanding, they have to have the permit and the amount of not gone through the proper channels, and making sure they've been properly permitted. So that's taken up most of January for me.
All right. So just a quick inquiry. The people with the 10 buildings and the problem in the right-of-way, or they were over the easement and they had a house put on are they still out and about, or is that done?
Yeah, so we did go and issue the 90-day timeline to them. So they have the 90 days to address that and show that they're either moving towards the demolition of the structure or showing clear evidence of physically relocating it on site. If not, otherwise it's gonna come before the commission when that timeline has expired.
Where are we in the 90 days?
Like 78 or something.
Is it?
I
been a
believe we're
while.
just about halfway through with that, yeah.
Have we seen
March,
any progress?
March.
so far?
March is our,
I mean, I'd imagine it takes a long time to get the wheels in motion, right? Have we seen them actually make progress towards it?
So there's been no response to that correspondence that's been issued, and I would have to take an actual visit out there
It's okay.
to physically see and get eyes on it, but as far as I know, there hasn't been anything.
Okay.
10 something Lane.
we can go look, right? We're allowed to?
Yes.
18.
Okay, the minutes, I don't know if you all looked at the minutes at all? There were substantions or comments on the minutes from last meeting? Oh,
No, they seem fine.
okay, do you have a motion to approve them? It does it again.